Alright, so you've probably already seen the video setting up a Facebook party, how to do it, naming stuff, adding a person to it as hostess, and all of that. Because as consultants, we are the ones who set up the Facebook party, so make sure you're familiar with how to do that and what to keep in mind as far as social media guidelines when you're setting up a party. But I want to talk about the reasoning behind the way I do the parties the way I do. When I first got started with Norwex parties, there were almost no one else who were doing Facebook parties at the time, and no one I knew. And I got very little encouragement for doing parties, and because the model was home parties. So I needed to make Facebook parties work, and I needed to figure out how to do that. So when I first worked on my script, I sat down to write as if I was talking to a friend in a coffee shop and she was asking me about Norwex. And I thought through, what does she need to know, and what flow makes sense for building on that information. What does she need to know first, and how do I need to communicate that to her? And one of the strengths of Norwex Party, especially for someone like me, because I don't know about you, but I am one of those people that, when I'm talking in person, my words and thoughts just disappear. And things come out, and they're not always the things that I meant to come out. And so I do much better when I can think and write and come back to something after the fact. And that's what I love about Facebook parties, because with Facebook parties, I started with a Word document, and I just started writing as anything that I felt was relevant and important. And I could rearrange, I could change things up, I could hear someone else's ideas and come back and tweak it. And it wasn't a static, I said this and it's done and that's it. It's something that I can constantly make better and improve and change and tweak and update and hold on to the phrasing that I think is really good. So I love my scripts. I love updating them and tweaking them and getting new ideas and fresh ideas and coming back and changing them up to make them better. And that's one of the perks of a Facebook party. So you can use the script that's in our Facebook Dolphins team files, or you can make your own. The way I've set up my script, I have pre-party posts, party posts, and post-party posts. So the pre-party posts, they set the stage. They talk about what the problem is. Because if someone doesn't see a problem in the first place, if they don't see that there is a need, they're not going to see a need for Norwex. And as all of us know, Norwex meets a need, and Norwex meets a very, very practical need, okay? Everyone has to clean. Everyone is short on time, short on sanity, short on money, we're all there, and we all have to take care of our bodies. So even if you don't really care about the environment, even if you don't really care about the health side of harsh chemicals, any of that, Norwex still meets a very practical need by saving time and effort with cleaning. So my pre-party posts talk about that. What is that need? And they talk about Norwex to set the stage for credibility, because that's a really big deal, and that's definitely something I wanted to know. How credible is this company that is making these claims? So before I even start talking about the products, I want to set the foundation for the products. So those are my pre-party posts. Sorry, it's late and I'm yawning a lot. My party posts, I focus on care and use very briefly, the Safe Haven starter package always, and then 1 to 3 extra products. And then of course I have booking seeds and recruiting seeds throughout. And if you're curious about those, post a question, comment, and ask. So with the Safe Haven starter package, that is hands down, it is the package to be selling, to be sharing, because it is the best deal for your customers, and that's what we want. So one thing to keep in mind is, sorry, I talk on my hands. I'll keep my hands. I will try. I am sitting on my hand now, so it does not keep getting in the way of the, of the screen. So, my hands distracted me. The script, did I say it was late? So with the Safe Haven, I touch on that every single party, because that is the main package that I sell to, because it has something for every room of the house. And it's just, I've noticed consistently my customers who don't get it to start with come back to get it later, and then they pay extra shipping. So I do the Safe Haven starter package, but because I have hostesses who visited, they've hung out for 5 or 6 parties before, and I don't want them to have the same material every time. So I have different scripts. They all have the same framework, but they have different content. So, no consultant only has one EnviroCloth story. We all have multiple stories that we can tell, and the only reason we don't tell all of them is because of time. So I focus on a different story in each script. Different pictures, different the story, just to change that up for the hostesses, or even for the guests who haven't hosted, but they've come to multiple parties. So that framework, the Safe Haven starter package framework, is the same, but the content is different. And then the extra products that I feature outside of that are also different. I work to rotate through depending on who is in, I have scripts that are set that talk about, okay, these 3 products and these 3 products and these 3 products. And I rotate through them as a hostess is attending different parties. But I also have flexibility to just change out a post entirely if I see that a customer is asking about something in particular. Like tonight, I had a party where multiple guests asked about the water filtration system, and I wasn't going to talk about it tonight, but I have a Word document saved where over the years I've written little blurbs up about different products and saved them. So I just opened that up, copy and pasted it into Post My Party, and it went right on time, and I replaced a post that I had been planning to talk about instead. And that was, simple, and I customized it to my party tonight, and no big deal. So I do change those up, and I focus on the individual party to know what they would like. And part of that goes into my my roll call post. When I do a roll call, I'm very intentional about this because I don't have the time or the money not to be intentional. Okay, so my roll call post, I always want to know, first of all, if someone, if they like Norwex, what do they love about it? Because I want to hear about that so I can have that in mind. And I also want other customers to see that, because customers pay a lot of attention to another customer's review. And so I say, if you're not familiar with Norwex, what is your least favorite thing to clean? Because that gives me an idea of what I need to focus the party on. And if it's bathrooms and I wasn't planning on talking specifically about bathroom products, then I'll change that out. I will talk about bathroom products then. And then I do a couple different prized opportunities in my parties. So I have the participation prize. That is the most talked about prize, and I do that because people, the biggest cause of lack of sales in a Facebook party, there are 2. Is hostess coaching, not good hostess coaching, or not a very involved hostess, and guests who don't read the posts, because it's easy not to buy Norwex if you don't know anything about it, right? So the hard part about your Facebook parties is getting guests to attend and pay attention and interact. So my goal of the participation prize is to get them involved, give them a reason to read, because I know once they find out about Norwex, they're going to love it. And if they can't afford it, they'll host so they can get the stuff for free. So my goal is to get them to pay attention to the posts and read about them. Now, I do not tally up points for the participation prize until the day after the party, because I want people who couldn't be online at the party time to have a reason to come back and read through. And I coach the hostess to let them know after the party. She'll reach out and say, I'm sorry you couldn't be on tonight, but you still have a chance to win a free cloth if you go back through and read and comment on stuff for the participation prize. And that's a really good way to get people who couldn't be on to come back through. And I do a drawing prize specifically for the people who were able to be online at the time. And so I have them answer 3 things they learned from the party from 3 different posts, because I want them going back and reading from 3 different posts. And it helps me kind of concept check them. If I see someone says somebody's talking about using the cloths with soap and it works great, then I can go and be like, no, our cloths don't need soap. Or if I see that they're talking about how the microsilver cleans all of their surfaces, I can say, well, it's actually the microfiber. So it kind of concept checks it and helps me make sure that they understand what we talked about. And then I have a bonus question with that for them to ask me about my job. because my job is awesome. And it's just another way to share that with them. So that's the drawing prize. It rewards the people who are online for the drawing. It concept checks things so that I can see that they understand. And it gives a chance for them to ask me about my job. And I do that drawing during the party time. And then I do a prize for the first person to order the Safe Haven starter package, because that creates that sense of urgency to get them on to ordering it. And it's fun, and I want to reward that person who does that. So that's a good way to give incentive for getting on ordering right away. So those are my prizes. I do offer a prize to someone who invites a friend and the friend orders and both order and they let me know. Because that can be a really good way of getting into a completely different social circle again. Now, interaction is key with parties. So anytime you see a guest commenting, comment back. Interact with them, okay? Don't just leave them hanging in their responses. Hostess coaching is really, really, really important. Check out the document in the Dolphins files, because this is crucial. Hostess coaching, it's not just about the hostess, it's about your upcoming hostesses too, and interacting with guests and getting bookings. And it's all a cycle, and it's so important. Your verbiage is make or break for getting a party, guys. So if you're struggling to get a party, read through that file again. Post in the Dolphins and ask for ideas. But 9 times out of 10, your verbiage is what is going to make or break getting a booking off of your party. And as we know, bookings are the lifeline of this business. I'll come back with more answers later if there are questions, and we'll call this good for now.